Some nations find a way to overcome crisis and thrive, while others unfortunately falter. Today, I'll delve into the history and reasons for one country's challenging past and remarkable ascent. A country that is not endowed with abundant natural resources, yet has effectively managed its human resources to achieve remarkable development. Today, I'll talk about Finland. Welcome to the World and Me project with Dr. Yeva Alexanian. Please press the like button, share our videos, and subscribe to our channel for more videos. You can visit our website at www.worldandme.info and explore more about our project, read articles and facts related to our videos. In November 1939, the Soviet Union invaded Finland, a small country with a population of only 3.7 million. The odds were stacked against Finland. The Soviet Union had a population of 50 times larger and a significantly larger and better equipped army. The Soviet army expected a quick victory, with Helsinki captured within less than 2 weeks. It seemed that the fate of Finland was sealed. Ideologically, the two countries could not be more different. Finland was a liberal capitalist democracy that had just won the civil war against its Red troops, which were backed by the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union, under Stalin's repressive regime, was a communist dictatorship. Finland hoped to hold long enough that the Finnish government would have time to recruit help from friendly countries. Unfortunately, despite Finland's pleas for help, many powerful nations offered only promises of support. Led by the skilled military commander Marshal Mannerheim, Finland put up a surprisingly effective resistance. Mannerheim and some others clearly saw the signs for the Soviet invasion long before the war broke out. It became even more apparent in August 1939 when Germany and Soviet Union signed non-aggression pact known as Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. The Finns saw the pact as a secret agreement dividing up the spheres of influence, with Germany acknowledging that Finland belonged to the Soviet sphere. Shortly after signing the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, the Soviet Union issued ultimatums to its 4 Baltic neighbors: Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and Finland. The Soviet Union demanded that these countries allow the stationing of Soviet military bases on their soil and grant the right of transit for Soviet troops to access these bases. It was clear that the stationing of Soviet troops would leave these republics defenseless, and Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia saw resistance as hopeless, ultimately accepting the Soviet Union's demands. As a result, they were unable to avoid annexation by the Soviet Union in June 1940. Finland, however, took a different stand and rejected the Soviet Union's demands. The Finns were determined to defend their independence at all costs. This decision set Finland on a path of resistance, leading to the Winter War of 1939-1940, where the Finnish people would demonstrate incredible bravery and resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. The Finns used a variety of unconventional tactics to defeat the Soviets, including guerrilla warfare, ambushes, and the use of ski troops. The Finns fought on their own turf, knew the terrain well, and were motivated by a strong sense of national identity and determination. Finnish army was also able to take advantage of the harsh winter weather, which hindered the Soviet advance. Ironically, Soviet army was not prepared for Finnish harsh winter. The war ended in a negotiated peace treaty. Finland was forced to cede some 10% of its territory to the Soviet Union. But as documents would later prove it, the Soviet Union attacked, hoping for the entire Finland, not just part of it. In some ways, the Winter War was just the beginning of Finland's complex position during World War II. In 1941, Germany invaded the Soviet Union. Finland adopted enemy if my enemy is my friend approach, allying itself with Germany, the Soviet Union's enemy. Finland was hoping to regain its lost territories. Unlike some of Germany's other allies, Finland did not share the same intentions of territorial expansion. It merely wanted to regain its lost territories. Nonetheless, Finland's cooperation with Nazi Germany in the conflict strained its relationship with the Allied powers and the Soviet Union. Finland signed the Treaty of Paris in 1947, formally ending the state of war. The treaty required Finland to trade with the Soviet Union and buy their products. The treaty also required Finland to pay $300 million, or in today's dollars, over $4 billion to the Soviet Union within 6 years. Meeting the demands of war reparations was no easy feat for Finland, especially for a small, largely agricultural and unindustrialized nation. Winter War and World War II had destroyed Finland's infrastructure. Farms were neglected, manufacturing facilities fell into despair. 2/3 of Finland's shipping fleet was destroyed, and trucks were worn out without spare parts. Hundreds of thousands of Finns who were displaced from Karelia, who became disabled as a result of the war, orphans and widows, all of them required housing, money, and emotional support from the Finnish families that remained intact and healthy. Tens of thousands of Finnish children who had been evacuated to Sweden during the war were returning, having been traumatized and nearly forgotten their parents and language during their years in exile. It is truly remarkable how Finns managed the influx of refugees. Jared Diamond discusses this in a great detail in his book Upheaval. Not a single refugee ended up on the streets. The Finns in various cities generously opened the doors of their homes to those seeking refuge. This display of compassion and hospitality showed an unprecedented level of national unity among the Finnish people. After World War II, Finnish government faced financial challenges in meeting $300 million, or in today's dollars, over $4 billion payment to the Soviet Union. But here too, Finns displayed remarkable national unity and identity. Finnish citizens, especially women, voluntarily contributed to the government's efforts to raise funds. Many Finnish women donated their jewelry and other valuable possessions to help the government fulfill its obligations to the Soviet Union. They all came together to ensure that Finland does not give the Soviet Union any reason for further demands and claims. Paradoxically, those debt obligations became in some ways a stimulus, forcing Finland to industrialize, develop its heavy industries, especially shipbuilding, and find avenues for growth. We economists often overlook the role of national and cultural traits in development because they're difficult to quantify or measure. However, Finland's people, culture, and history shed light on why Finland's certain successes might not be easily replicated elsewhere. For example, the level of Finland's ability to unite and confront challenges during critical periods in its history is something that's hard to imagine happening in many other places around the world. Finland's foreign policy and its economy underwent a significant transformation since the Winter War. After the events of the Winter War and World War II, Finland faced the challenge of defining its position in the rapidly changing geopolitical landscape. It was perhaps around this time that Stalin reportedly said, "The first time it was our fault, the second time it will be theirs." Stalin was effectively warning Finland against attempting to resist Soviet influence after the Winter War, implying that any future conflict would result in harsher consequences for Finland. This sentiment encapsulated the idea of Finlandization, where Finland maintained its independence but adapted policies favorable to Soviet Union to avoid further confrontation. Finlandization is sometimes called also the Paasikivi-Kekkonen line, named after Finland's president who formulated and implemented it for 35 years. This approach of political line reversed Finland's previous policies of ignoring Russia, as they did in 1930s. It emphasized understanding the Soviet Union's perspective, conduct frequent communication with Russian officials at all levels, and earning and maintaining the Soviet Union's trust. Such strategy required sacrificing some economic independence and freedom of speech. However, it allowed Finland to maintain its independence, democracy, and sovereignty, building a trusting relationship with Soviet leaders like Stalin, Khrushchev, and Brezhnev. In fact, when Stalin was once asked why he had not tried to maneuver the Communist Party into power in Finland, as he had done in every other Eastern European country, he answered, "When I have Paasikivi, why would I need the Finnish Communist Party?" While some criticize Paasikivi's approach and the idea of Finlandization, others point out that during the Cold War, when many countries became playgrounds for the West and the Soviet Union, such a policy line allowed Finland to maintain its independence, democracy, sovereignty, and peace. And that's huge. In the future, we'll talk about Chile and Indonesia, and you'll see how bad things could turn out to be. Finland became a conduit for the Soviet Union to import Western technologies during the Cold War era. Finland's geographic location, situated between the East and the West, allowed it to maintain trade relations with both sides, despite its close proximity to the Soviet Union. Finland acted as a bridge for the Soviets to access Western technologies, goods, and expertise, which were often restricted or unavailable in the Eastern Bloc countries due to political reasons. This arrangement benefited both Finland, which gained economically from trade, and the Soviet Union, which obtained access to valuable Western resources. This way, Finland also increased its role for the Soviet Union and showed that Soviet needs independent Finland as a partner more than Finland as a part of the Soviet Union. In Finland, the government and press avoided criticizing the Soviet Union and practiced self-censorship, even during events like the Soviet invasion of Hungary, Czechoslovakia, and the war in Afghanistan. When a Finnish newspaper accurately reported Soviet occupation of the Baltic republics, the Soviet Union denounced it. Finland was warned to prevent such incidences. Finnish government immediately urged the press to exercise more responsibility, essentially asking them to do a self-censorship. And surprisingly, that's exactly what Finnish press did. It's just awfully hard to imagine the press in the United States or in any other democratic country being so cautious and resorting to self-censorship for the sake of the nation. So yes, during Cold War, when countries were actively choosing sides, Finland chose a path of neutrality and non-alignment. Finlandization involved adopting a neutral stance in international affairs, carefully navigating its relationships with both Soviet Union and the Western countries. This policy allowed Finland to maintain its independence and sovereignty while avoiding direct confrontation with the Soviet Union during the tense years of the Cold War. This is why the country refused to join military alliances like NATO for decades, ensuring it did not become embroiled in the ideological conflict of the era. Despite numerous opportunities, Finland applied to join NATO only after Russian invasion of Ukraine. It officially became a NATO member in April 2023. Economy-wise, Finland was a poor country with a large debt burden in the years immediately following World War II. But in the 1970s and 1980s, Finland rapidly caught up with top performers such as Germany and Sweden in terms of income per capita, with a gap shrinking to less than 10%. The Finnish economy is now a highly developed and diversified economy whose GDP per capita has increased from $1,000 in 1940 to over $50,000 today. Finland has enjoyed, with some exceptions, relatively low inflation and unemployment rates since the Winter War. So, how did Finland manage to become one of the most prosperous countries in the world? The key to Finland's prosperity lay in realizing that as a small economy, they couldn't compete on the same scale as major powers like the United States and the Soviet Union. Instead, they could nurture a skilled workforce and develop industries that could yield high profits. Therefore, first and foremost, they had to invest in people. Finland invested in its people by adapting the Nordic model of social democracy. This comprehensive social welfare system offered healthcare, education, and support, prompting equality and inclusivity, which greatly influenced the country's economy and society. Education became a cornerstone of Finland's economic growth. Their world-class education system, combined with a meticulous selection process for choosing teachers, has nurtured a culture of continuous learning and knowledge sharing. Finnish school teachers go through a very competitive process. They're selected from bright high school and university students, enjoy very high status and higher than university professors' salaries. Finnish teachers are well paid, have advanced degrees, and have lots of autonomy in how they teach. This is perhaps why Finnish students consistently score at or near the top of world national rankings in literacy, math, and problem-solving abilities. While education is crucial, Finland recognized that education alone is not sufficient. Yes, a well-educated workforce with a strong focus on STEM has been crucial in driving innovation, productivity, and competitiveness in various sectors. But since Winter War, Finland has gradually diversified its economy, which proved to be essential for sustained growth. Strategic investments in sectors like electronics, telecommunications, and machinery contributed to its thriving technology-driven economy. I should also mention that Finland's commitment to research and development played a significant role in its economic growth. The government's support for research and development has fostered an environment of creativity and invention. Finland's combined private and public investment in research and development equals to 3.5% of its GDP, almost double the level of other European Union countries. With significant investment in research and development, right policy interventions, willingness to learn from mistakes, they fostered an environment that led to the rise of global giants like Nokia. And yes, Nokia is a Finnish company. Additionally, Finland has a strong industrial base and an export-oriented economy. The end of the Cold War and the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 brought significant changes to Finland's geopolitical landscape. Soon, Finland joined the European Union, which supported economic reforms and boosted Finland's trade. Joining the European Union allowed Finland to access a large and wealthy market, which was crucial for Finland's economic development. Today, Finland's exports make up close to half of its GDP, contributing to the nation's prosperity. For comparison, the United States export to GDP ratio is roughly around 10–11%. Finland is a major exporter of high-tech products, machinery, forest products, and chemicals. To support further its growth, Finland has invested heavily in modern infrastructure, including transportation and communication networks. In recent years, Finland has been at the forefront of digitization and has seen the rise of numerous successful startups in various industries, contributing to its economic growth and global reputation as an innovation hub. I would also like to highlight another crucial aspect that sets Finland apart from many other countries: the nation's unwavering commitment to the rule of law and remarkable law abidance by the Finnish people. One key element that exemplifies this commitment is the immense respect the Finnish people have for their police force. Finnish policemen undergo rigorous training and hold university degrees, ensuring a highly skilled and professional law enforcement team. The law abidance and effective and transparent judicial system, political and social stability, along with dedication to lawfulness and social order, has played a significant role in Finland's continued prosperity and attractiveness for foreign investments. Today, the Finnish economy is considered to be one of the most stable economies in Europe. The country has a low debt burden and a strong currency and a well-educated workforce, low levels of corruption, political stability, and a well-functioning democracy, which has created an environment conducive to economic growth and foreign investments. Finland enjoys one of the lowest levels of income inequality among the OECD countries, although I should mention that taxes are quite high. Gender inequality is among the lowest in the world. In Finland, the gender pay gap stood at approximately 16% in 2020, with women earning around 84% of what men earn. Women also held roughly 47% of seats in the Finnish parliament. Additionally, according to most recent data, the labor force participation rate for women aged 15 to 64 in Finland was about 79%, while men's rate was 80%. The country has one of the best parental leave policies. Finland is also unique when it comes to issues of homelessness. Due to Finland's unique approaches and willingness to tackle the problem and give it a comprehensive solution, homelessness in Finland is close to zero. I need to also mention that Finns are consistently ranked to be the happiest nation in the world. In the UN's Sustainable Development Report, which compares 193 UN member states based on 17 sustainability goals, Finland is ranked number 1. With a commitment to achieve carbon neutrality by 2035, Finland attracts companies sharing similar sustainability ambitions, which prompts increased investment interest in the country. In fact, the United States has become second largest investor in Finland, with first and third largest investors in the country being Sweden and China. A Latin saying states, "Through hardships to the stars." The paths to economic and national success are undeniably challenging and fraught with hardships. But as Finland has demonstrated, they can be achievable under certain circumstances. This was the more recent history of Finland, the country that inspires me personally. And this was World and Me project with Dr. Eva Aleksanyan. Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to press the like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos. You can also visit our website at www.worldandme.info and explore more topics. Stay tuned for our next video, and I'll see you soon.